Here's the translation of the intro for Night Story. Welcome to Night Story. This is the place where mysterious tales, strange dreams, and the secrets of the night are unveiled. Join us as we embark on a journey to explore a world of wonders, where untold stories come to light under the darkness of night. Night Story, taking you into a never-ending dream. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our captivating stories.
Go into difficulty to overcome it. The story goes that there was a young man named Ethan who was once full of passion and dreams, but life kept knocking him down with failures. After the company he had built over many years went bankrupt, his girlfriend left him, unable to handle the pressure. His heart was shattered, and his faith in life was depleted. Feeling trapped, he decided to set out on a journey to find answers for his troubled life. During his wandering, Ethan heard about a wise old man living in a small house on a high mountain. A man who, according to the villagers, could answer all of life's suffering. Filled with hope, Ethan sought him out, hoping to find salvation for his soul. When he arrived, Ethan met the old man sitting on the porch, with silver hair and bright eyes full of experience. Unable to hold back, he poured out his story of loss and heartbreak, of the pain that words couldn't describe, and the feeling of hopelessness that was consuming him. The old man listened calmly, without saying a word. When Ethan finished, the old man simply stood up and gestured for him to come inside. The old man placed a large pot of cold water on the stove. Then he slowly added a carrot, an egg, and a lump of salt into the pot. Without saying a word, he turned on the heat and waited for the water to boil. In the quietness, the sound of boiling water gradually took over, while Ethan began to feel confused, not understanding what the old man was trying to do. After a while, the old man turned off the stove, opened the lid, and gently took out each item. He placed the boiled carrot, the hard-boiled egg, and a bowl of salt water in front of Ethan. Seeing the young man's puzzled look, the old man began to speak in a calm, warm voice. "Look, life is like this pot of boiling water. It represents the hardships and challenges we have to face. Like the carrot, the salt, and the egg, each person reacts differently when confronted with trials. Initially, the carrot was firm, but after enduring the high temperature, it became soft and fragile. The salt, though solid, dissolved in the water, losing its original form and leaving behind a bitter taste. Meanwhile, the egg appeared delicate and fragile on the outside, but after going through the heat, its inside became strong and resilient. Ethan looked at each item before him, understanding the deeper meaning in the old man's words, but still unsure what the lesson was. The old man continued, "You can choose how you face difficulties. You can be the carrot, allowing adversity to weaken you, to drain your strength. Or you can be like the salt, dissolving in sorrow and letting losses seep into your life, making it more bitter. But you can also be like the egg, using challenges to harden and strengthen yourself. When your soul is tempered by hardship, it will no longer be fragile and easily broken." Ethan was in a daze, feeling every word of the old man sink deep into his mind. He looked back at his life, at the failures and losses that had caused him so much pain. But now he saw that those experiences could also be opportunities for him to grow stronger. The old man smiled and added, "What matters is not what you go through, but who you become after it all. Challenges can be a destructive fire or a forge that strengthens you. Choose to be the egg, to become stronger after each boiling test. You have the power to change, and it is never too late to start again. Ethan left the house on the mountain with a heart enlightened. He knew life would not be easier, but now he understood who he needed to become: strong, resilient, and always ready to face challenges. From that day on, he decided not only to rise from his failures, but to use the scars as a foundation to rebuild a new life. His journey continued, but this time, Ethan was no longer afraid. He knew that no matter what other boiling pots life threw at him, he would choose to be the egg that hardened with each trial. As Ethan descended the mountain, the wisdom of the old man's words resonated within him. He walked until he came across a small village where the people led simple lives, farming and tending to animals. They knew nothing of him, nor was he anyone significant to them. This anonymity gave Ethan a sense of freedom, allowing him to explore a life entirely different from his own past, free from the weight of his history. He decided to stay in the village for a while to contemplate his life. Every day, Ethan helped the villagers with simple tasks, like harvesting crops, herding livestock, and repairing farming tools. The physical labor left him exhausted, yet somehow his spirit felt lighter. He found peace in the simplicity of life, where people worked hard but were content with what they had. However, a lingering sense of unease remained, like a small flame ready to flare up fiercely. One day, Ethan was invited to join the village's harvest festival. That night, the village was lit up with colorful lanterns, and laughter and chatter filled the air. People danced joyfully around a large bonfire, and children ran around playfully. Ethan sat alone on the outskirts of the celebration, his gaze lost in the flickering flames. He realized that he still felt like an outsider, unable to immerse himself in the happiness around him. The feeling of loneliness crept back, even amidst the bustling scene. While Ethan was deep in thought, an elderly villager sat down beside him. The man was thin, but had bright, lively eyes. The elder asked Ethan, "You seem troubled. What's weighing on your mind?" Ethan hadn't intended to share his story with anyone, but the old man seemed kind and understanding. He began to recount his past, about his dreams of business, his lost love, and the failures that had stripped him of everything, even himself. The elder listened thoughtfully, nodding as Ethan spoke, then asked, "So, what have you done to overcome all that?" Ethan pondered for a moment before answering. "I tried to forget, but it seems I can't let go of the past, and every time I think about it, I feel weak and useless." The elder frowned, looking into the burning flames. Then he picked up a small stick, wrapped some cloth around its end, and dipped it into the fire. When the stick caught flame, he planted it into the ground, letting the fire burn brightly in the darkness. He said, "You know, fire doesn't just consume everything. It can also provide light and warmth. This flame can destroy anything, but it can also dispel darkness and bring light to those who are lost. The important thing is not how strong or dangerous the fire is, but how we use it." Ethan gazed at the flame, understanding the profound meaning behind the elder's words. Before, he only saw challenges as flames that could burn him down, but he had never thought that they could also be the power to rebirth and illuminate the path ahead. He began to realize that difficulties weren't meant to break him, but to teach him how to master life, just like mastering the fire. The next day, Ethan decided to leave the village and continue his journey. But this time, he was no longer running from the past. He returned to the city where everything had collapsed and started anew. He sought out his old friends, rebuilt his business with the lessons learned from his previous failures. Ethan not only corrected the mistakes in his work, but also learned to appreciate the true values in life, not letting pain and failure dim his determination. Day by day, he found himself growing stronger. Every new challenge, big or small, was like a flame testing his endurance, but this time, he was ready to face it. Ethan learned to turn difficulties into opportunities for growth, and he no longer feared the trials of the future. Years later, Ethan became a successful entrepreneur, but he never forgot the small mountain village or the wise old man with the lesson of the boiling water and the flame. He had learned that in life, nothing is insurmountable as long as one knows how to face adversity and constantly refine oneself. Ethan's journey proved one thing. Life is a series of unending trials, but it is during the toughest moments that one finds their true strength. And Ethan, once broken and faithless, had learned to illuminate his life with the very flames that had tested him. He became a source of inspiration for others, sharing the story of the egg, the carrot, and the salt with those seeking strength to overcome difficulties, just as the wise old man had once done for him. Goodbye. See you next time. Wishing you a day full of health and success.